What's going on, guys? Steven here again, and today we are going to Plasti Dip an aquarium. Plasti Dip? Why Plasti Dip? Well, Plasti Dip, you may or may not know, is basically a rubber coating that comes in a spray can, various different colors, you know, your standard black, white, to anything you could think of, color combo. You can spray it on, and then once it dries, you can peel it off down the road. So what that means for me is I can paint my tank backgrounds, and if I don't like it or I want to just change up, I just peel it right off. This has become very popular in the automotive industry with people plasti dipping their whole cars, their wheels, different trim pieces. It's very versatile. So the video that we just did the 10-gallon bulkhead installation on, we are going to plasti dip the back of it. This color of blue, it's called Blaze. You can get most plasti dips from Home Depot, Lowe's, and a lot of auto parts stores like Advance Auto, AutoZone, O'Reilly's. They all carry plasti dip now pretty much in the paint section. Specialty colors, this is a Blaze. It's not stocked locally from any place I could find. I ordered this on dipyourcar.com, and they have hundreds of colors you can get on there. You can get color changers, metallics, pearls. If you just want a black background, you can definitely get those at Home Depot and Lowe's. It's in the paint section. And at my local Home Depot, it's right next to the Rust-Oleum spray paint. Things you're going to need? Well, you're going to need the tank, obviously. It should be empty, and it needs to be clean. So I usually just wipe the glass down with Windex. You can use rubbing alcohol, acetone. Windex is just something I have handy. I do have acetone, but I find it's not really needed. This is a brand new tank, so I don't have to worry about, you know, any kind of chemicals getting inside there right now. Normally, you could use rubbing alcohol, and you'll be 100% safe using that. You want to make sure that you spray this in your garage or outdoors, somewhere where it's highly ventilated. With any kind of aerosol can, you might have VOCs, low VOCs. You just want to make sure that you're being safe and doing it in a safe location. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to do is, after cleaning the glass, make sure it's nice and clean for you, we're going to mask off the trim. Now Plasti Dip, the great thing about Plasti Dip is if you overspray it, it peels off. The problem is if you overspray it and it's kind of thick, and you go peel it, you might actually peel off the part that you actually painted. Now, you can take a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and if you got a real light coat of mist, you can use that and it'll dissolve the rubber off. You can also take a razor blade and scrape it off of anywhere that there's overspray, but I find it's easier just to go ahead and mask off the plastic. I'm just using painter's tape for that. Okay, the final step is we're going to want to mask off the side. Unless you're going to paint the side, we're going to mask this off. I have a couple tanks that I painted both sides and the back, so that way you're kind of looking into the tank. This tank, I'm leaving the sides open, and I just want the back painted. So I'm going to run a mask line down this side and on the other side. I am going to go ahead and remove this bulkhead to paint it. I will put some tape on the inside of the glass to keep the Plasti Dip from going inside. That way I don't have to mask off the bulkhead. Alright, from my experience, Plasti Dip does not like being sprayed if it's cold. So if you're going to do this outside, don't do it on a cold day. And by cold I mean freezing. Alright, we're going to go ahead and spray this tank. And one thing I noticed about Plasti Dip is that if it's really cold out, like right now it's 20 degrees outside of my house, Plasti Dip is a self-leveling paint, which is great because it gives you a really good finish. But the thing is, when it's really cold out, it doesn't want to self-level that well. So I'm going to spray this in my garage where it's warmer. I would also recommend doing this somewhere highly ventilated and somewhere where you're not going to worry about overspray. And like I said, if you do get overspray on something, it will come off because Plasti Dip is removable. Alright guys, I'm out in my garage. It's actually too cold outside for me to spray this tank. So I'm going to do it in the garage with the door shut. And since the door is going to be shut, I am going to use a respirator. Now with Plasti Dip, it comes out very like splatty. That's okay, don't think that anything's wrong, because that's how it sprays out. At least out of this Blaze cans that I've noticed, that's how it sprays. The first coat, you're not trying to cover it like you would maybe like a thicker paint. You just want to do a light first coat, and then we're going to come back and hit it heavier. Alright, I'm going to flip the tank around so that way I can get a good angle hitting down on this side since I'm primarily shooting this way. And we're getting some tiger stripes. I don't know if you can see that on the video where it's a little bit thicker in certain spots. That is okay because it will level out. Alright, it's on there really thick now, so we're going to let it dry for a few minutes and then come back and do some final coats. Alright guys, because it is so cold in my garage, it was taking a while for it to dry. So I brought the tank inside into my fish room. I don't know if I can try to get this to focus. That's kind of what it looks like. It looks real splotchy. And that's normal. So if it looks like this when you do your first layers, that's okay. Come on, focus. And we're going to take it back out and we're going to spray it again. Now I'm going to spray it side to side so that way everything stays even, but the Plasti Dip will level itself out, so it'll give you a nice finish once it's dried. I guess I should also mention your final coat is going to be a real thick coat, where your first few coats are going to be really thin. Typically it's like a 50% coverage on your first couple coats. I go a little bit heavier just because I know that it'll flatten out at the end. But go lighter on your first couple coats. You should be able to see through the glass. It's going to take a few coats to cover that up to where you can't see through the glass anymore. And it does look terrible. And I'll show you what I mean. So here's that coat I just sprayed. And see how it looks very texturized? That will even out as it dries. Now it is very cold in my garage, so I need to bring this back into my fish room, where it's warmer so this dries correctly. But don't worry, it will look better once it comes out, but that's kind of the texture it looks like until it self-levels. And these big splotches, don't worry about those will come out. Alright guys, it's the next day. I had to let the tank sit overnight just because my garage was so cold. It didn't want to dry real quick. So it's done. I went ahead and took the masking tape off. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just peel it slow and peel it away from the edge of the Plasti Dip so that way you don't accidentally pull the Plasti Dip up with it. Another thing you can do is when you do your final like heavy coat, while it's still wet, then pull your tape off, then you don't have to worry about it accidentally peeling your Plasti Dip. Let's go ahead and show you the results. And here it is with the tape removed. It did lay pretty flat. Normally it lays perfectly flat, but because it was so cold I was a little nervous about it, but it came out good. And just so you know, with Plasti Dip, it doesn't really matter if it's a flat color or a gloss color, because once you have water in the tank, it's going to become gloss anyways. So there's the background. And then all I want to do from here is put my bulkhead back in, and then this tank will be ready to go in my fish room. Alright guys, that's it. Plasti Dip, I really like Plasti Dip backgrounds, because if you ever want to change your color, you just peel it off and then restart, versus if you have regular paint, you might have to get a razor blade out and try to scrape it off, or even use a chemical to try to get it off. Usually a razor blade will work, but Plasti Dip is so easy, it just peels right off. Now, a thing to know is the warmer it is, the easier it is to peel off. So if your tank is sitting in a room that's 72 degrees, or your water is 72 or higher, it's going to peel right off for you. If you have your tank sitting out in the garage like I did, and it's 40 degrees in the garage, it's not going to peel off very easy. It's actually going to come off in little pieces. So make sure it's warm if you ever try to peel it. But like I said, it's super easy. A can of Plasti Dip will do many tanks. My one can, I could probably do at least a dozen tanks with it. It lasts quite a while. Black is what I typically do. I did blue just because I had it sitting around and I wanted to see how it would come out. And I think it looks nice. It's not that bright blue that you will see in an aquarium shop. I'm not a big fan of the bright blue because I think once you start getting some algae growth, which on certain tanks you want that, especially if you have like fry, or if you're trying to grow some snails out, you want some algae in the tank. But you see it when you have a bright color background, especially that like baby blue color. This color, the blaze blue, is a little bit darker, so I like it because it's a darker color. You don't see as much, but honestly, I like black. Black is my favorite background. I use that for the bottom of the tanks, the back of the tanks, and then sometimes I'll do it on the sides if I have a bunch of tanks right next to each other. But that's it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.